Tonight, the dangerous smoke now on the move, blanketing tens of millions across the country. From Chicago to New York to Washington, skylines blotted out, D.C.'s iconic monuments barely visible. This time lapse shows the smoke making Pittsburgh disappear. The Major League Baseball game just postponed, plus President Trump's new threat to Canada if they don't stop the smoke. Texas flood emergency, the urgent rescues of trapped families, and our first look at the total devastation. This bridge completely washed out, cars and RVs flipped over, crews bringing food to children stranded in camps. President Trump rehashing election claims in a primetime speech, accusing China of interfering with the American election. So why is that country's president still invited to the White House? Gas prices rising again as the U.S. military ramps up strikes in Iran. New video showing this surveillance tower destroyed as U.S. forces rappel down onto a tanker in the region. Shootout caught on camera, a man opening fire on police, the daring rescue after one of them is shot. The deadly landslide in China sweeping away buildings, forcing hundreds to evacuate, dozens still missing. The new details about that parasite outbreak, the lettuce supplier now recalling some of its product. But is iceberg lettuce the only concern? What experts now say. The car turning into a fireball, the police officer pulling the driver to safety. And our great Americans, John Leguizamo, one of the stars of the Odyssey, on his trailblazing journey through Hollywood. Nightly News starts right now.
This is NBC Nightly News with Tom Yamas.
And good evening. We thank you for joining us on this Friday. We want to start with that dangerous smoke now on the move, smothering new cities today. 100 million Americans are breathing in that toxic air tonight. The smoke now creeping south, Washington, D.C. getting some of the worst of it. You can barely make out the Capitol Hill dome there, and the Washington Monument now enveloped in smoke. Major cities now unrecognizable. Chicago, Philly, New York, all still choking on the dangerous air. This is time-lapse video of Pittsburgh skyline. Look at all those buildings seeming to disappear behind that smoke. And you can see here all that unhealthy air pouring in from Canada and the wildfires raging up there tonight. We'll time it out when it finally moves out in just a moment. But just in tonight, President Trump is now threatening more tariffs on Canada because of that smoke. Our Tom Costello is covering it all tonight. He starts us off from hard-hit Washington.
100 million Americans from Minnesota to South Carolina facing dangerous smoke from the Canadian wildfires. The Washington Monument surrounded by smoke, a haze over downtown Baltimore, people masking up in Philadelphia.
It's really hard to breathe, especially in the afternoon. It becomes even worse.
In Cleveland, they postponed tonight's Guardians-Pirates baseball game because of it. The D.C. government canceling its outdoor activities and closing outdoor pools. I shot this video as I landed at Washington Reagan this morning. Canadian smoke hanging low. The president's helicopter lifting off in a haze. The air quality here considered unhealthy. My eyes have been red and itchy all day. I've been coughing. Health experts say if you're outside for any period of time, you should wear an N95 mask. Chicago and Detroit both choking on smoke that put air quality readings in the hazardous range. EMS respiratory distress calls surging.
Look, this is pretty unprecedented. We shattered records yesterday.
Georgetown Med's Dr. Helen Dakota telling me,
so this is a red alert air quality situation, which means that everyone can feel symptoms of the poor air quality. And this includes shortness of breath, chest tightness, wheezing.
With nearly 200 fires now burning in Ontario alone. Toronto silhouetted against an orange sky with predictions the fires could burn into the fall.
That smoke making some wild scenes out there. Tom Costello joins us now live from Washington. Tom, you need to mask up. Are others heeding the warnings as well?
Yeah, there are a lot more people out here. If they're out here, a lot of them are wearing masks. Listen, we just checked. We're right now at an air quality index reading of 185. It's been going up. When you go over 200, you're in very unhealthy. But, Tom, yesterday we have multiple cities plus 500. So this index has been really in a very dangerous position and place for the last couple of days.
Tom Costello leading us off from ground zero right now, Washington, at least tonight. Bill Cairns is here. And Bill, for the millions of people who are sick of breathing this air, what's the timeline for clearing it out?
Yeah, so the smoke is going to still be coming off of this fire, but it's on the move because of a weather pattern that's going to move through this weekend. So we have all the fires that are burning. Some of the worst air in all of the country right now is still over northern portions of Minnesota. Look at Duluth. And then as we head to the south, we're still watching about a 1,000-mile stretch of the smoke all the way down to Washington, D.C. Pittsburgh and Cleveland have some of the worst air, along with Philadelphia. What changes over this weekend is this cold front will kick through. The smoke is going to lift out of the northeast during the day on Saturday, but at the cost of thunderstorms. And some of these thunderstorms could be severe, maybe even isolated tornadoes. So 89 million people were worried about from the Ohio Valley to the mid-Atlantic. It gets rid of the smoke, but we have to deal with the storms.
Yeah, and we'll be tracking it all as we watch the World Cup on Sunday here. All right, Bill, we thank you. That flooding emergency in Texas not over yet after walls of water tore through the hill country. Priscilla Thompson and her team in Kerr County tonight getting our first look at the mass destruction out there.
Tonight, unrelenting rain submerging new communities in Texas. Authorities making high water rescues, bringing families and pets to safety. Rain falling as fast as 4 inches per hour in Crockett County. And we're seeing new images that show the power of those floodwaters. The Nueces River tearing apart this bridge in Uvalde County. We made our way into hard-hit Kerr County today, meeting a man named Andy, showing us how high the water rose.
I woke up and opened the door, and there was water flowing. It's pitch black and raining very hard, and you just knew that something bad was coming. Narrowly
escaping his RV, his girlfriend was nearly swept away, saved by a neighbor just in time.
She came out of the rig, and the current kind of took her down, and they were just there.
And back in Uvalde County.
Never had an issue where I've lost everything.
A woman named Reve telling our Ryan Chandler she's desperately searching for cherished items that can never be replaced.
My grandparents are no longer with me, so there's things that they gave me that I'm trying to find.
And tonight, we're learning the identity of one of the people killed in these floods. Mark Stewart lived in Kerrville. His wife, Jenny, posting, "Mark, my love, I will forever be grateful for the beautiful years we shared together."
And with that, Priscilla Thompson joins us tonight from Kerr County, Texas. Priscilla, we see the damage there just behind you. The governor now saying more federal help is coming in?
Yeah, Tom, and it's because of the extent of the damage. You have this RV on its side, this car also on its side, and this SUV landing on a guardrail. The governor has now issued a major disaster declaration to get that federal funding coming in. Tom?
It shows the power of that rushing water. Okay, Priscilla, turning now to politics and President Trump's primetime address to the nation. The president making some bold claims of foreign election interference and making his case for greater security reform. But today, his critics saying he offered very little proof. Garrett Hake reports from the White House.
In his primetime address to the nation, President Trump castigating America's election system, saying it's rife with what he called shocking vulnerabilities, with the White House posting hundreds of pages of declassified but highly redacted documents.
These disclosures reveal an election system so broken and so vulnerable that no one can possibly defend it.
The president accusing China of illicitly acquiring 220 million American voter files beginning in 2020, though much of that information is available publicly.
They fought like hell not to have it, Donald Trump, to win.
China's foreign ministry calling those claims, quote, entirely fabricated and a malicious smear. The president also pointing to a review of state voter rolls and public records by the Department of Homeland Security.
They identified approximately 278,000 non-citizens who are registered to vote in federal elections.
But election experts say the database that may have been used for that analysis often flags newly naturalized citizens as non-citizen voters. The DHS secretary today warning state election officials to accept new federal involvement in their election security processes, or else
those individuals can also be held accountable by fines, by penalties, and even, depending on how far it goes, prison time.
Democrats today blasting the president's speech.
What we also saw last night was a clear signal of this president's intent to unconstitutionally wield federal power to attack this election and to undermine voting rights.
Garrett joins us now live from the White House. Garrett, the president is pointing the finger at China, but he's also welcoming its leader to the White House for a visit in the fall.
That's right, Tom. The White House today confirmed that the president still plans to host Chinese leader Xi Jinping for a state visit this fall. And this evening, the president even joked about hosting a joint World Cup tournament with China in the future. Tom?
Garrett Haig for us. Garrett, thank you. Another challenge for President Trump, of course, gas prices rising again. Now back to nearly $4 a gallon nationwide as the renewed military strikes between the U.S. and Iran are rapidly escalating. Keir Simmons reports tonight from that region.
Tonight, the destruction of a surveillance tower said to be used by Iran to track targets in the Strait of Hormuz. The new video from U.S. Central Command, hours after releasing dramatic footage of U.S. Marines rappelling onto a tanker. As gas prices in the U.S. rise and traffic through the Strait of Hormuz fell to a 3-week low, the U.S. again attempting to force Iran to back down. President Trump promising results.
You will see the fruits of that labor very, very shortly.
But Iranian state media releasing video of its own, saying this footage shows a drone attack on a Thailand-flagged tanker in the strait. And Iran accusing the U.S. of killing civilians in the bombing of this bridge near the strait. Tonight, Iran releasing this poster of 7 people it says were killed in strikes on bridges, including 3 women and a child. Their funerals announced for tomorrow. And Iran said these drones were launched at U.S. targets in Kuwait. A desalination and energy plant were hit. In 24 hours, Iran targeting 7 U.S. partners and allies in the region. Here, an ammunition depot in Iraq hit.
While here in Doha, we heard loud explosions which shook the windows. Qatar says falling debris injured a child. Tom?
Keir Simmons. Keir, thank you. Back here at home, we have an update tonight on that stomach illness outbreak that has made thousands of Americans extremely sick in at least 34 states. One major supplier is voluntarily removing all iceberg lettuce, but there are new questions tonight about whether any other produce may also be contaminated. Here's Ann Thompson.
Tonight, Taylor Farms voluntarily removing from the U.S. market all its iceberg lettuce sourced from central Mexico. This after the FDA and CDC warned Americans not to eat shredded iceberg lettuce from Mexico served at Taco Bell restaurants in 5 states. Today, Taco Bell said it's removed all that lettuce from its supply chain nationwide. The government says more than 1,644 people infected with cyclospora, the foodborne parasite causing severe intestinal illness. But with cases in 29 other states, experts say iceberg lettuce may not be the only problem.
Is it likely it could even be just one type of produce?
Given that we have multiple outbreaks going on, at least according to the FDA, we just don't know at this point.
Cyclospora spreads when human feces get into food or water. It can enter the food supply anywhere from irrigation in the fields to the production line. In this case, Taylor Farms' parent company says the FDA traceback investigation identified a specific Mexican farm. Tonight, the FDA says be cautious with pre-washed produce and cooking is the safest option. Ann Thompson, NBC News.
We're back in 60 seconds with a dramatic body cam video. Deputies ambushed in a hail of bullets, how they rescued one of their fallen colleagues. Plus, the race to survive as the ground gives way in China. Look at this, the landslide sweeping buildings away. And our one-on-one with this week's great American, John Leguizamo, as his new movie, The Odyssey, hits the summer box office. That's next. We're back now with a dramatic video of a shootout between Florida deputies and a gunman and how they rescued one of their colleagues after he was hit. And a warning tonight, this video is disturbing. Here's Jesse Kirsch.
Loaded 3V, I'm in my car, I got hit in the neck.
Tonight, these newly released videos taking us inside an alleged ambush on sheriff's deputies near Tampa, Florida. The edited footage released by the Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office shows this deputy getting out of his SUV, then falling to the ground as he's shot. Another deputy hit before he even gets out of his car.
I'm hit.
Then watch as the third deputy returns fire, the gunman falling over.
Hey, get us ambulance, get an ambulance.
An officer then races to help one of the injured deputies away from his bullet-ridden SUV.
Hey, bullets in my hand.
The hand of God
was with our deputies here today.
The Hillsborough County Sheriff says the gunman was 34-year-old Chris Machowski, a convicted felon who had allegedly held his ex-girlfriend hostage Wednesday night.
He tells her, as he's holding her at gunpoint, that he's going to kill her.
Then, as deputies moved in on Machowski yesterday, he allegedly opened fire. The sheriff says he died from his injuries. The injured officers medevaced to the hospital. The sheriff sharing this X-ray image showing bullet fragments in one deputy's hand. And tonight, both injured officers are recovering from a frightening close call. Jesse Kirsch, NBC News.
We're back in a moment with the officer pulling a driver through his window to get him out alive before his car's engulfed in flames. Welcome back. A stunning scene out of China, a massive landslide in the southwest part of the country. From the ground, you can see a dust cloud in the distance, and then the people just start running to get out alive. Buildings collapsing all around them. So far, at least 8 people have died, but dozens are still missing. 10 have been rescued. And a regular traffic stop back here at home gets serious fast. A police officer racing to a car when the whole thing just goes up in flames. You see it here. The officer pulls the driver out by the hands as the whole thing ignites. An incredible act of heroism to get that man out alive. And is this the clothing of the future? Check this out. Clothes that suit up without the wearer having to use their hands at all. It's developed by a team of American and South Korean researchers. Tubes powered by air pressure can fully outfit someone in just 10 seconds. All right, when we come back, John Leguizamo's long Odyssey, from brutal auditions to one of the biggest movies of the summer, this week's Great American. That's next. Finally tonight, our series about great Americans, where we talk with those who have achieved so much about their life and this country. Tonight, one of the stars of the new epic, The Odyssey, on his own journey through Hollywood, where he blazed a trail for others. Our great American tonight, John Leguizamo. What do you love about America?
The fact that, you know, it gave me so many opportunities. I'm grateful for all that.
Remember me? Benny Blanco from the Bronx?
Trying to kill you!
John Leguizamo has been captivating audiences for decades.
No, I'm not supposed to put you out of your misery.
From the screen...
I didn't ask to come on this trip, did I? No, I don't think so.
To the stage. Born in Colombia, his family moved to the U.S. when he was just 2.5 years old. Even at an early age, Leguizamo liked to make people laugh.
I knew I had this ability, but I was disruptive. And my math teacher said, why don't you use your comedy for good? Why don't you become a comedian? So I did start looking up in the yellow pages. That's how old I am. And I found an acting school, and I was 17. And that class changed my life.
Today, he has more than 100 screen credits. 100, that's a big number. Yeah. And you've been so successful, but it is rejection. It's auditioning, not getting a role, people telling you, we're not into you, or whatever. You're too Latin, you're not Latin enough. How did you deal with that?
Absolutely, you have to have tough skin. But luckily for me, coming from the ghetto and underprivileged, I felt everything was a success. Every crumb, every tiny molecule of success was a huge win for me.
And his biggest success could happen this weekend, starring in The Odyssey, produced by NBC Universal and made by Oscar-winning director Christopher Nolan.
We spent 2 hours at lunch. He would tell me about his life, his career, which was incredible. And then he told me, I'm doing The Odyssey. And he got this character, Eumaeus. He goes, he's the most loyal character in Western literature. And I was like, oh, that's a heavy lift. I like it. And then at the dessert time, he said, you have the role. And I was like, excuse me? Because I thought I misunderstood it. You got the role. Oh, wow.
Do you say yes, or do you have to kind of wait?
No, I say yes. Of course I said yes. As soon as he left, I ran home, hugged my wife, kissed my children, called my friends, because it was the most exciting thing ever.
But even with all his success, Leguizamo has never forgotten where he's come from, delivering this message to Hollywood at the 2024 Emmys.
For years, I didn't complain about the limited roles my people were offered. The spicy sex pot, the Latin lover, the maid, the gangbanger. Turns out not complaining doesn't change anything.
So you're up on the podium.
Yeah.
You're behind that mic.
Right.
And you light the place on fire.
Oh, yeah.
Why?
Because look where we're living in, man. I see myself as an artist, and artists are political. Artists take risks. And I think you have to risk things in life to get more things, especially for your people.
And for Leguizamo, that's all part of being an American. What is an American?
An American is a person who is considerate, respectful, who believes in others, who protects the vulnerable, who helps others achieve their dreams, who unites, who saves the world and keeps peace.
Our thanks to John. We can't wait to see him in the Odyssey, which opens this weekend. That's Nightly News for this Friday. I'm Tom Llamas. We thank you so much for watching. Tonight and always, we're here for you. Good night. We thank you for watching, and remember, stay updated on breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or watch live on our YouTube channel.